Welcome to the SDG LearnCast with me, Pauline Duman. In every episode, I bring you insightful conversations around the subject of sustainable development and learning, helping us all to achieve a sustainable future. In this episode, we will be talking about how to use space, specifically satellites, to address one of the biggest global challenges, providing electricity to the most vulnerable groups. With us today are Camila dos Santos Gonçalves and Grace Chenxin Lu. Welcome to the SDG LearnCast.
Hello, thank you so much for having us here. I am Camila Gonçalves, I'm from Brazil. I'm the founder, team leader, project coordinator, editor-in-chief, and researcher of Space Power.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. I'm Grace Chenxin Liu. I'm from the United States. I'm the editor-in-chief, project coordinator, graphic designer, and researcher of the Space Power team.
Thank you so much, Grace and Camila. And maybe before we start with your project on how you use space to solve one of the biggest global challenges, can you tell us about how this team project started and how did you come up with this idea?
The Space Power project was formed to solve the flexible use of electricity global challenge by the Junior Academy at the New York Academy of Sciences, which was sponsored by the Royal Swedish Academy of Engineering Sciences and the Chalmers University of Technology.
So, the Junior Academy is a passionate global community of problem solvers made up of talented students, STEM experts, and industry leaders who design innovative solutions to solve the world's greatest challenges. We work and collaborate virtually on a platform called Launchpad, and we compete in these project-based challenges focused on the UN SDGs. So essentially, everyone is deeply passionate and like-minded here, and that's why we were all so dedicated to this project.
And of course, we couldn't have done all this without the other team members, namely Joaquin de Castro from the Philippines, Mariana Valley Taveira from Brazil, Kriti Maturu from India, and Satvik Agrawal from the United Arab Emirates. We also had an amazing mentor, Dr. Garrett Schneider, a retired aerospace engineer, who provided immense support and help throughout this process.
Maybe Camila and Grace, if you can just let me know, like, how old are your teams and how old you are, like both of you and your team, basically.
We're all among 13 and 18.
Okay. And with this group, 13 to 18-year-olds, you were given this problem. And so what was the problem that you were trying to solve in the challenge that you were given?
In this challenge specifically, we were supposed to design an innovative approach for flexible use of electricity. They say for either individuals, industry, or society. Just to clarify, flexibly using electricity is using it when the supply is high, but saving the surplus for times of need. The biggest question of the challenge was how can we use electrical energy to its greatest potential? But the challenge in the Junior Academy is very flexible, so it's up to the team to actually decide the approach and define the specific problem we wanted to solve, of course related to the theme. So we decided to focus on the regions that has the least energy access and where society is most severely impacted by the lack of energy, Sub-Saharan Africa.
There are many causes for this lack of access in sub-Saharan Africa, and it's both on the supply and demand side. So, from the demand perspective, the main constraints are the low uptake and expensive connection charges. These are factors that are also correlated. From the supply perspective, one of the issues is the unreliability of renewable sources, which can be addressed by flexibly using them. Because most of the existing options in the region are renewable, decentralized grids, and the supply becomes unreliable or uncertain at times, and this causes common blackouts.
Yeah, and we believe that those barriers to electricity access also hinders the progress.
Perhaps and also give us a brief background of the project that you worked on.
We focused on the energy flexibility as a tool to guarantee this energy access because we believe that guaranteeing reliability and security of supply and reducing the system costs and consumer prices by flexibility could solve this. Our initial hypothesis was that space could be a powerful tool to achieve energy flexibility. That's why we're called space power, as it provides real time awareness and fast control of the grid, while also avoiding disturbances that could happen on the ground in a conflicted region.
So, our proposal was to use weather data collected online and inputted into a program inside a satellite telecommunication payload. This will basically manage renewable energy production and storage in a grid system. Basically, we'll monitor the weather to predict the availability of energy produced by renewable sources. And based on this, we can tell when it'll be used and when it should be stored. All of this will happen inside the satellite that kind of talks to the grid in some sense, and it orders what should be done. So when it rains, less solar power is produced, of course, and this available energy should be stored.
And this will be tested for viability, of course, with a small scale pilot, but it should be done after the challenge finishes right now, so it hasn't started yet. And to guarantee that this solution can solve the entire problem we present, we have a financing plan for widespread scaling up across assets and even possibly other regions.
What you did was to use satellites to gather data so that you can actually know when solar energy is available and when it is in low amount. And this, of course, improves the predictability, the forecasting of available energy for a specific area that are actually getting this information. And this actually is contributing to the reliability of electricity. And already mentioned that you are trying to contribute to the achievement of the different sustainable development goals. Perhaps you can expand on how technology that you have co-founded or this project that you have co-founded, how it is benefiting people.
That's a really important point because we believe that our solution can bring a positive impact to all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, especially goals 7, 13, 5, 9, and 8. The goal 7, since it's about affordable and clean energy, it's kind of obvious that our solution contributes to it, especially because using real-time online open access weather data has no cost and can support research on renewable energy access and energy product flows. For the goal 13, on the other hand, climate action, there are a couple of components that we believe. The stability and flexibility of the suggested renewable energy storage and the advocacy for socially beneficial financial mechanism for scaling up renewable energy usages.
And then goal 5 on gender equality, which is interesting. Our solution empowers local women entrepreneurs in communities and enhance the girls' educations there. So for this, a key step was establishing a revolving fund as a financial mechanism for locally run committees. And we referenced this from a proven, successful, sustainable project by the UNESCO actually. Basically, this mechanism's purpose is to turn excess electricity into money by connecting and selling it back to the national grid. So this money would go into a fund that can cover costs such as for maintenance, and a key feature of the fund is to also administer equal financial opportunities for women and equal education for girls and boys. This ultimately builds a more gender inclusive, sustainable community. And that leads me to the next point of contributing to goal 9 on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So, electricity is a big part of infrastructure, of course, and in particular, our SCADA system for monitoring the electrical grid and controlling its storage. Basically, it benefits important parts of energy infrastructure like electricity generation, distribution, and its transportation.
And finally, the goal 8 on decent work and economic growth is pretty much related to what Grace presented, because our detailed financing and scaling up plan empowers local communities to increase economic productivity and sustainability. It also guarantees positive economic impacts and expands the solution to the whole SSA.
What I want to understand is you're 14, right? And Camila, you're 18, and you were in high school, Camila, when you joined this challenge. And Grace, you just entered high school now, this year, right? And I can imagine is as young innovators, you have a lot of challenges that you faced when you joined the academy, but also now with the piloting and the implementation and scaling up. And I would really want to hear, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners would want to hear the type of challenges that you faced as young innovators.
Well, one challenge was having to manage other commitments like schoolwork and important exams while working on this project. And that was a really big one since some of our teammates couldn't make it to a meeting because they had an important exam. But then, of course, as the other team would compensate for that and then put in a bit more work to help out each other, it was a very flexible thing here. But another challenge that I feel that we as young innovators face in general is quote unquote environmental and financial constraints. So we often don't have the space for testing and failing in our solutions or proposals, nor do we have the training and skills needed to formulate our ideas into something like a business proposal. Because this also goes with the financial constraints and contributes to why we often can't get funding for this kind of stuff because we're not speaking the same language as business people and investors because that takes those special trainings that you learn a lot later on. So it's quite difficult to acquire the funds needed for executing our solution since we're a younger generation. They may not um, believe us as much or want to listen to us because we seem very experienced.
And perhaps you can also tell us what are your future plans for the project?
Definitely. What we first wanted to do is share our project findings and solution, not only to solve this specific problem, but also to inspire more young people out there. And of course, we'll be start contacting organizations, as Grace mentioned, that this could help to bring our ideas into life because we need fun to do that.
I think it would be nice to also hear from you your reflections, juggling schoolwork, collaborating online with students from different parts of the world, from different time zones. Perhaps you can share with us what lessons you've learned from this experience and how did your mindset or your skill sets improved or have adopted from this experience?
Well, the main thing I can say is how much this experience taught me about leadership. This was one of my first international collaborations and it was all virtual. We have never met each other in person. I understood how important it was for me as a leader to motivate and listen to the team, especially because our mentor talked with me about this before we started everything. And then it was also amazing to have everyone actually wanting to do their best for their project, everyone very engaged. But it was also essential to keep managing the team focus and work, trying to put everyone on the same page. And this was quite a big thing because we had people with completely different backgrounds. So it's natural and amazing that each one would have different ideas and thought process. But going to a more technical side, my research skills also improved a lot, especially because we had a very short time, 2 months only, to learn a new topic and consider all its particularities. And the dynamics of getting feedback from experts also made me a little more mature, recognizing our fragilities and strengths.
Grace, how about you? What was your experience?
Well, yeah, being a part of this team undoubtedly gave me the chance to explore and learn an unexpected amount about this topic. When I was going into this at first, I didn't expect to learn this much, not only about the subject and about the team, and Camilla's point of motivating and supporting the team. I truly felt that, which is why I feel like Camilla was just such an amazing team leader throughout, because this was my first team project where I felt motivated and encouraged to proactively look for ways to contribute. And I was just eager to sacrifice kind of or contribute as much as I could for the success of the project and to inspire others. But I've learned so many new things. I feel like I've become more mature. I've learned how to like better handle tasks with deadline, work with a team, present and exchange ideas, and come up with more innovative, creative ideas. Even smaller things like scheduling meetings and taking meeting notes, those types of stuff, which I feel like are all skills that are crucially important in the 21st century. So, in terms of my mindset, I think I've become a lot more open minded to other ideas and discussing with him back and forth, and also accepting criticism and constructive criticism actually, because the feedback from the experts like Camilla just said, it was essentially important for our projects to become more successful, but really opening up to that kind of because you're kind of like being vulnerable in a way and exposing like all your hard work for potential like criticism and stuff, but ultimately just for the success of our project, it was definitely worth it, of course.
Maybe if you can give tips to our young listeners regarding international team collaboration, what are your advices to young people who have ideas and would need help to move things forward or just to kickstart some of the ideas that they would like to put it out there to solve like the global challenges that
For tips on international team collaboration, I would mainly suggest establishing a system for communication right at the get-go. Have a platform where all or at least most of the team members are active and can respond quickly to potential urgent messages. With the struggle of the time zones that you probably have, try to use calendars or tools like When to Meet to schedule meetings. Try to keep a fixed time for weekly meetings. If one person cannot attend, record it and take notes. If the case is all virtual, as it was in our experience, then you'll see that the organization is the key. So try to register everything you do, take notes of the meetings, summarize what needs to be done, and try to follow a pattern in your organization for the documents, folders that you may have, because you will definitely want the information to be easily findable and understandable for the whole team. After all, everyone will be struggling with their own routines and own life, but we'll also need to put everything together in the project.
For advice to young people like us who are looking to have an idea or need help moving forward or starting, I'd say to first start from the inside. Ask yourself if it's a topic that you're really interested in and want to commit to, because when there's a will, there's a way. All this other stuff will come naturally, because then when you're doing background research to make sure that it's realistic and feasible for planning and outlining, like you'll be motivated to do it if it's something you really care about, which it seemed kind of obvious, but I just feel like it might not be important enough or talked about enough.
Thank you so much, Camilla and Grace, for being with us at the SDG Learncast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
And that was Camila Gonçalves and Grace Shenxin Liu. I hope you took away from this episode that you can be an innovator no matter how young or old you are. Camila and Grace were both 17 and 13 years old when they participated in the 60-Day Innovation Challenge, organized by the Junior Academy of the New York Academy of Sciences. We learned in this episode that by using space satellites, which can be used to gather weather data online, the satellite can help manage renewable energy production and storage in the grid system. Through this technology, there is real-time information and fast control of the grid. It helps in increasing the predictability of when solar energy will be available through the weather data from the satellites. When the supply is low, the satellite talks to the grid to order it to store available energy. Another important lesson I got from Camila and Grace is that they look at the problem holistically and focused more on understanding the problem before jumping into offering a solution. They did not just look at it as an energy issue. They also looked at how the solution can contribute to climate action by increasing the stability and flexibility of renewable energy usage. One aspect they also looked at, which can contribute to gender equality, was the establishment of a revolving fund as a financial mechanism for locally run committees. The mechanism can turn excess electricity into money by connecting and selling them back to the national grid, and the money can go into the fund to cover costs such as maintenance. The fund also aims to provide equal financial opportunities for women and equal education for girls and boys. You can find more of the SDG Learncast on the UN SDG Learn website. For now, I'm Pauline Duman. Thanks for listening.